Hey everyone, it's Ryan1940 here. Today we're taking a look at Sea Power Naval Combat in the Missile Age, and we are in the Aleutian Island chain, kind of near the island of Attu. And this is 89 Red Horizon, the first mission in this mission series called Whispers at Sea. It's made by a guy named Hooligan, and it's available on the Steam Workshop. This series of missions is kind of like this alternate timeline where the Soviets invade the United States, and this first mission's kind of foreshadowing what's happening before that. And our operation is to intercept some sort of intel boat from getting into this intel gather point, and we're not allowed to shoot at anybody unless we're fired upon. However, it is considered a threat if the intelligence ship we find continues east and tries to get into this intel gathering point, and then so we are authorized to shoot it if it doesn't stop. Right now, we've been told that there is a Submarine class destroyer that's working with this vessel, and we're not to shoot at it. So that's what we got. I suspect that this is either a merchant or this is the Submarine because it's a large vessel. These meagers, we don't really have to worry about that. They're probably fishing boats. In fact, we can just quickly get these people to identify themselves. It is very weird, though, that they are sailing, I think, the same course and speed. Yeah, they are. That's nuts. Wow, yeah. It's not impossible to see fishing boats going the same course and speed. However, it's, when ships would do that, it's usually because they're trawling a big net or something, and they'll have it spread out for a really long distance, and then they'll have another boat going. And they might be going the same course and speed, but even then, they're still going generally different courses, or generally one course, but they are making a lot of course adjustments to stay on station and that kind of thing and get in position. So you would see that, you could see that, but I wouldn't say it's this common, right? Most of the times, you can think of small boats as like, oh, this is some of the Discovery Channel stuff for that TV show. I forgot the name of it. Dangerous. I can't remember it. Oh no, I used to love that show. Trawling off in the Bering Sea. Well, yeah. You can think of fishing boats as kind of behaving like ants. They just go everywhere. They might be generally going the same direction, but like to a fishing ground. But everybody's interested in doing their own thing, going to their own spot, and going back to port. So. In fact, if you're a mission creator and you want to know like what realistic fishing routes or not fishing routes but shipping routes in general look like, you can go on you can just search for, I think it's marinetraffic.com or something like that. Search for AIS ship traffic on Google, and you'll see there's their websites out there, because the modern ships now have AIS, which is an automated broadcasting system, and shows people their location so that we don't collide with each other. People can turn it off, of course, but if you go on that website, I think it's marinetraffic.com, you'll see it's like Flight Radar, that website for airplanes. You see all the traffic of ships, and you can generally see where the shipping lanes are. And it's kind of interesting because if you actually pay attention to what the ships are doing, ships are basically trying to go the direct line to wherever their port is. So they'll, in fact, when you see people coming up and over, they'll have to go through this island chain. They all pretty much go through a certain one. So a lot of times you might be constrained by draft and stuff like that. So, and you see once they come around an island, they immediately go the most efficient direction to get to the next port. It's really cool. You'll definitely see that like in the Strait of Gibraltar, when ships pass through their routes to go to like the United States and other ports. So anyways. Yeah, if you need ideas on how shipping traffic looks, go use those websites. They're really cool. Now we've got to investigate what this thing is. In fact, actually, let's see what this... Oh, never mind. We don't need to investigate it. Okay, so I'm going to guess that because this is a Submarine, we can expect... somewhere around here is probably going to be where the spy boat is at, because they said they're kind of operating close to each other and it's trying to get to this spot. Considering the Submarine is going this way, I think it's likely the spy boat's somewhere right around here. So we'll go ahead and fly that way and see what happens. Make sure the radar's on. It is. What is the Gary at? MCON, okay, well, we've got a submarine out here, so we'll make sure we have our towed decoy out. In fact, we're gonna open it. And now that we know what the Submarine is, we need to figure out what weapons it has. So it's got these anti-aircraft missiles that go 17.5 nautical miles, and it's got the P-100s, which go 71 nautical miles. This mission series requires the use of NTU mod and the packed enhanced lethality mod, so you might see some ranges here that differ from the base game, and that's the reason why. So we're going to pull out 17.5, and that's just going to be something I'm going to reference. Oh, actually, I can change this. I like to align this this line here with the actual ship's course. Sometimes vessels they'll change their course, and you can't worry about it too much. But if I do see they are steady on a course, I'll try and keep to that. So we said 71. It's good enough. 71.3. I'm doing that because I want to know if the Gary can engage this guy if we need to, and still be out of range from his surface missiles. We got 8 of those guys there. They're pretty deadly. They're supersonic, and yeah, this whole barrage would sink the Gary. Like, certainly a couple will get through and sink the Gary if they fired at us accurately. But this works out really well because in this in the new threat upgrade mod and TU mod, both of these mods that are required you don't need sea lift or anything like that. They just work once you download them and you enable them in the game, and they're made by Nuclear Stonk. There are fictional units, but there's also a lot of research that went into changing some of these values for the current vessels, and then you get different year vessel classes. So this one's got the harpoons that go 80 nautical miles. So we actually outrange the Submarine. And so yeah, if we stay out of this bubble, we'll be safe if they're going to fire at us. I don't know what's going to go on just yet. We lost that submarine contact, which is not good because I was not paying attention when that was lost. I should have marked it when we had it. Let's see here. We can go ahead and actually change this guy to lower his, or send out his towed array. There he goes. We got the contact again, I'm hoping. Oh, we've got a ship way out there. Wow, that's pretty nuts. Oh, we're actually going pretty fast. Let's slow the heck down. I probably want to open the submarine because I want to use the helicopter to detect it. Yeah, Gary's just going to have to open that sub. It was kind of close, 20 nautical miles. We're out of range of the 5365s, but if it's a different submarine, I mean, 5365 is not like on all the subs, so there are larger submarines that go, or torpedoes that go much faster, and so, and the ranges are increased. Like, I think I've seen some go in this game. I can't tell if it was the mod or if it was even in the base game, but I think I saw one that goes like 50 nautical miles or something nuts. So if we were to go north, it'd be kind of dangerous because imagine trying to run, but we're constrained by this to maneuver. So I'd rather just go out into the open ocean. So up here is the Bering Sea, and this is just the North Pacific and the Aleutian Island chain here. Okay, this EM emission, we don't know where exactly it's at just yet, but I suspect that is going to be our man. Does not respond. Go VID this thing if you could find it. So it's interesting with, if you looked at, they have the UN Convention, I think, for Laws of the Sea or something like that. We just call it UNCLOS. And, economic exclusion zones, you're allowed to do military data gathering, but it's kind of like a gray area because I think it's a permitted activity in that, but it also has a blurb about it's fine unless like the country doesn't want you to do it. But it's difficult to enforce it because, like, if you can imagine, you know, if I'm a vessel that has like a sonar, just because I have a sonar dome and I'm in your economic exclusion zone doesn't mean that I'm doing military data gathering, right? It has to be on. So for you to know it's on, you have to have a way to like see that and detect it. So a lot of times if you were to try and enforce something like that, you would need the sensors, you would need a Navy to be able to get out there and be everywhere all at once. So it's just kind of just gets left alone. In fact, this is a small radar contact. It'd be kind of cool if you had more expanded options, like, you know, the Gary is considered here as like a, if you're talking about like maritime interception operations, they're like a end game asset because they have people and small boats and stuff, so they can board another vessel and search it. But the problem with the vessel is that Gary can only go a certain speed, right? Even at flank in this high sea state, it's probably going to be like 20 something knots, like low 20s. So there are certain geometries that we have to use for interception, and it's entirely possible if the other vessel's just going too fast, that we cannot intercept it, and so we have to rely on aircraft. And aircraft can't, if we're not at war, they can't really affect an outcome because they can just buzz a target or something and give them commands. But if they don't listen to it, then it's whatever. You know, you can't jump out of your plane and go board them and stuff. So boats are important for maritime interceptions. I wish we had more expanded commands that we can give vessels. You know, when we request the identify yourself, it'd be cool if I can like tell this fishing boat to like halt or change course or something like that. I think it would give mission designers some more creative ways to make the story of a mission feel more immersive. Alright, we're still flying looking for this guy. We got him on radar now, so that's good. He is fitting the profile of we were told that some guy is trying to get into the spot and we need to stop him. If they get into the spot, the mission's over, from what I gather from that briefing. The briefing is kind of unique, and if you don't know how to get to it, it's basically a pop-up when the mission first starts. Because it's not an actual like left pane briefing window thing, you can't click on this and get one. It just doesn't exist. So if you want to see it again, you actually have to go down to the event log thing and then go all the way down to the bottom and click on the open modal window, and then you'll see the message. Okay, well, that's how you would get to it if you needed to, and that's also how you'd get to any other pop-ups. If you missed a pop-up because you just clicked it on accident, you can just go up to this event log and find when it happened and click on it. It'll pop it up again. So that's good. Alright, we don't have that submarine. That's dangerous, and we need to wonder if he's like below the layer. Alright, we'll get Gary to slow down. Hopefully they can detect it with their towed array once we get a little slower. Alright, let's speed this up. Oh yeah, oh, of course, there we go, nice. I don't like that. I always forget that it's on auto. I wish I could just keep it on dark. Who is detecting that? Is that the Gary? Oh, the sub picked it up. Okay, so we changed, we went under the layer. Is this guy under the layer? He's in the layer, I think. Yeah, the layer's at 391, so we're under the layer, and he's in the layer, and we were able to detect him, so that's interesting. Oh, that's pretty cool. The other contact is banging away with their active sonar. I wish there was a way that the player can see that, because if you're not listening and paying attention, you wouldn't know. Oh, okay, now the Gary's actually detected it as well with its towed array. It's slowed down. That's pretty good, 23 nautical mile range. I wish we got more information on it. You know, if these guys heard the active, they should be able to identify, like, help its classification, because right now it's like not classified. It's just we know that there's a contact there. Okay, but at least now that we know, we can actually get our flight deck going. ASW. Ideally, I want to track it with the helicopter, and once the helicopter's got the contact, then I'm going to have the SSN roll out of there as fast as possible. It's pretty cool. My dad was on, he was an attack sub guy, so he did a whole career in the Navy and was on the earlier flight LAs and then also some improved ones, and even at the DSRV, which is the Deep Submergence Rescue Vehicle Unit. They used to have a couple of rescue subs. I don't know what they use now, but... Oh, okay. Intel boat is found. Oh, so cool. Look at that. Beautiful game. Yeah, it'd be so cool if like you can just radio these guys that change course from the P3. Be like, hey, get the hell out of here, dude. But they are not, so we are authorized to fire at them. So what I'm going to do is pull this guy back. Just make sure we're out of this bubble, right? That's the air defense bubble. So we don't risk being shot at all. Move this marker to the submarine. Get an ASW helicopter up, and then actually we should also go to flight deck. We could fire a harpoon at this guy way out there. I'm pretty confident there's no fishing boats in this lane, a firing lane, so if we fire it at the Gary, which is right here, go up and over that way, I think it's okay, and I think this is enough. I mean, this is about 15, you know, this bubble is 17 nautical miles, so if the straight line from Gary to there, it's likely that the harpoons are not going to see the Submarine and go after it. So we can probably do that, fire like one and be done with it. Or we can also send a SH2 up there with the NTU mod that uses a Penguin. It's got a loadout that uses 2 Penguin missiles, which would be kind of cool to see. So we'll do that. We'll have fun with it. I normally don't like using both helicopters at once, but I do want to use a Penguin and use a couple Penguin missiles on a trawler. I think that'd be really cool to see. So let's go ahead. Yeah, you got these fiction, everything with the NTU mod and the pack lethality mod. I think if there's something that's not true to real life, it'll just say fictional. So you know, if you don't want to use those loadouts or anything like that, which is really cool. It's a great mod. The cool thing about it is it will give you different flights of vessels. So, and those aren't fictional. It'll just be like what the ships had in like 86 or 89 or whatever, like that kind of thing. In fact, I know for the guided missile frigates, so you look at all the OHP versions we've got. My favorite, the fictional Flight 3. I made a video on that one. With it's basically my dream version of this, with 32 cell VLS up front over here, and then Harpoon Mark 141 launchers up here, so 2 of them, so you still have the harpoons. And then it had 50 cals added to it, and there was a 25 mic gun that was over here. Yeah, it's really cool mod. Okay, so the game plan is helicopter is going to go pick up and detect this guy with the sonobuoy. It's going to continue to track it. This other helicopter is going to launch, go intercept this guy. Hopefully, I mean, we'll have to check the time on this. So they're going 5 knots. Let's see here. So 5 nautical miles going along that course. So within 1 hour, they're going to be in there. If they don't change course, they'll be in the zone and we'll lose. So helicopter's got to get up there pretty quick. Let's see what the distance is. So they're 80 nautical miles away. I think this guy cruises around at like 120 or something. Let's see here. Yeah, 137, 138. So we'll get there in time. It'll be pretty close though. All right, cool. So now, oops, I didn't want to do that. There we go. All right, you get your butt over there, please, to the intercepts. Alright, so I'll just turn the radar on. If the AI gets smarter in the future, you do have to worry about when and how you're turning the radars on for your helicopters, because if they can detect that with their ESM stuff, then they're going to know that a ship just is in that spot where all those helicopters are operating. Just like if you're a human player, if you see the AI having these unknown helicopters be detected out of nowhere, you can understand that there's a boat there. Alright. Now, let's double check who's got contact here, because Gary's still holding it. Okay, so I'm happy to get this guy to go faster. In fact, well, yeah. We'll just go flank to build the distance, and then once we're clear, then we'll head over to Submarine. Because we gotta watch this guy. He's the dangerous one, right? I don't want these subs together so close, because I want the helicopter to be able to kill the sub pretty quickly. The danger with them being close, but you know, they're 8 nautical miles away from each other. But if I was to fire this ASW torpedo, the 2 Mark 46s at this guy, there's no telling if, you know, one gets spoofed momentarily by a decoy and then sends it shooting past that way, and then it just picks up the provenance. So to get rid of that risk, we're just going to remove the RSSN from that situation. Why would I want to use the helicopter over the submarine? That would be some questions that you guys might have, and that's because these guys they're pretty close to each other. So if things get hot and this guy has my SSN, he's going to be able to shoot at it, and it's going to be pretty dangerous because there's not a lot of time to get out of the way. But conversely, there's still like 8 nautical miles, so if I fired a Mark 48, it's still going to take some time to get there, and I want to kill the guy instantly. I want to kill him quickly. So if I got him on sonobuoys and I'm just sitting off to the side there, if I need to shoot at him, I can immediately do that, and 2 torpedoes on the SH-2 should be enough for most submarines to kill them or to severely damage them so they stop being a threat. And so we'll do that. This will free up this guy to probably do stuff to the Submarine if this guy goes hot on us. I wish subs were handled differently in this game, and I understand why they are handled this way, because most players like the control. But the whole aspect of working with submarines is that you can't talk to them all the time, right? Like, we can't tell this guy all of a sudden to change his course. But it's a game, so we're allowed to do that. It'd be kind of cool if, and this is how I want aircraft to be handled in game, but it probably won't be this way. It's okay. Just to like draw a box out and say, hey, you do anti-surface warfare in this box and you stay in this box, or you do submarine warfare in this box. Or if I was an aircraft, I would tell the P3, you stay in this box and you search for ships in this box, and that's all you do. Imagine if you had a flight of like A7s and you just drew a box over this island and put them in anti-surface mode, they would just find any ground targets and kill them if they were hostile. And then you don't have to micro that. They just divvy it out themselves and that kind of thing. That would be super neat. And with the box thing, with the submarine, you would just tell the sub to do the thing in that box, and then it would go and do it, and maybe periodically come up to report any contacts that it's had. So you'd get contact reports that are kind of time late. I don't know. There's a whole way of playing it, but I think that's more convoluted for the basic user, and I can see why you wouldn't want to do that as a game developer. So that's all right. Okay, so this guy is getting kind of close still. Alright, we're just going to speed this up because it's going to be this guy's got to fly out for like 45 minutes, I think. So as long as Gary stays out of this bubble, we won't be able to be attacked. Oh, let's put this up in front of the guy. Alright, we should be dropping Sabui soon. Seems to be circling, so I'm just gonna spit out a few. Alright, so the Gary and the Sonobui have contact with the submarine, so that's good. Alright, we'll just continue to fly up that way. Oh, this guy is hauling, going 37 knots, and he's still 13 miles from the unknown sub. Man, what is this thing? It's like we can't track him, but he's, I mean, we could track him, but we just don't get enough information to know what he is. It's important to know because, well, I usually default to 53-65 ranges for kind of drawing a radius around the thing to stay out of it. They do have torpedoes that go much further, so it is something you have to worry about, and the longer that we don't know about this is it's keeping me from figuring out where I want to go. I do know I don't want to put the Gary up there. I didn't put the Gary up there because we're constrained by that landmass, those two land masses, and so if we have to do evasive maneuvers, it's kind of dangerous. Alright, we're up here. There's the trawler off in the distance. I don't know if you can see that. I do film everything in 4K, and I do upload in 4K, so if you have 4K streaming, definitely go try it out. Sometimes I think YouTube will default to like a slower speed to save their data rates, I guess, or even yours, but yeah, if you want to see stuff in 4K, everything is filmed in 4K in this channel. That is freaking cool. We're gonna keep this guy holding back here. One of the things you have to consider is you can see this fuel circle, right? This is slowly creeping down. Once it gets to touching him, he's just gonna RTB for fuel. So you gotta be mindful where, if you're gonna hold him kind of off in reserve or something. Oh, let's go watch these missiles. I'll shut up for a second. Oh man. No clue. No clue. Can't even see the missiles. Ooh. Okay. It's been destroyed, and now the Soviets are not going to be happy. We can fight or retreat, so of course we're going to fight. So, immediately, we need to kill this submarine. We're going to do that with 2 torpedoes. So you can see how quickly we could respond to the submarine, because we've got them in our buoy field, and then we're about to drop 2 torpedoes on him, and they're going to be right over him, versus the Providence now being 23 nautical miles away. It would take a while for those torpedoes to cover the distance to hit it, and at the same time Gary's at risk. Okay. Oh yeah, that is sweet. Alright. We're just gonna hang back still, we're not gonna RTB. In case we have to monitor, I want to monitor the buoys to make sure this guy's sunk. Ooh, he's kicking out noisemakers. He knows the end is near. So I think it's gonna change, maybe by the time this video's out, I don't know. The sound should change. You know, in real life, there's a lot of sounds related to sonar that humans just can't hear. So it's not like even in Hunt for Red October, where there's the scenes with the torpedoes, you just hear the pinging. But I think for a game, it's kind of cool to hear the sonar's noises and stuff like that. Ooh, one hit. This other one's just sailing through. Yeah, if you go on DTIC, there are some papers about like submarine sonars, and there's a paper on, I think it was written in the 70s or 60s about this, how the torpedo homing kind of works and what it's doing, and it talks about briefly what kind of sonar frequency range. It's a generic one that they're giving, but it kind of gives you the ballpark of like 50 to 60 kHz, which is well out of the human hearing range. So you wouldn't hear these kind of pings, but I think for a game it's nice. It's pretty cool. One of the things I bring that up is because I was talking with a dev about in that paper, you know, it kind of tells you, if you can imagine the torpedo getting closer to a contact, it needs, right now it's doing a fixed ping rate of like 5 seconds or 6 seconds or whatever. It would need to get, if it did have this contact, it would the range collapsed, it would need to get it more frequently, right? Because it needs to control the steering to get to the contact. So if you waited every 6 seconds, you might, as you get closer to something in the vessels or at sea in general, your bearing rate generally goes sky high because the sensor's getting so close to something. So as you pass it, the bearing rate just goes really, really high. Eventually, because you'll CPA it or something, and then it'll go stable again as you get further away. So yeah, you should probably in the future, I think that's going to be added. I think cold water, as I was told, does that, where the torpedo pings become more rapid as they get towards something. And it's kind of like in Hunt for Red October, you can, all those torpedo scenes, but I think they get it. They overdo it for like the tension building and stuff. Because you can imagine with sonar pings, you just can't. I think in the movie it eventually gets like so close that it's almost like a steady ping, and that's just not that's not how sonar works. You got to be able to hear the return, right? If you're pinging while the other ping is still out, you're not going to be able to detect anything. All right, this guy's probably abandoning the ship. So we can try a couple things here. We'll try. I want to go and see if we can go. Let's go maybe periscope depth. I want to try a sub-launched harpoon attack. So when I do salvo sizes in the game, when I estimate it, generally my rule of thumb is like 4 harpoons you'll likely will all miss, but if you get a hit, you'll only get like 1 hit. So if you think you need 1 hit on something, you can fire 4, but it's highly likely that they're all going to get shot down. If you think that you need 6 or 8, or if you need like 2 hits to sink something, generally like a big destroyer like that, then it means that you're going to probably need 8 harpoons. So that's how I usually do the math in my head. And with salvo sizes, you don't want to be too strict, right? If I make it so that, let's go to like 1/3. If I constrain myself to make my salvo size as efficient as possible, there's a risk, because it's all random, that I don't get the hit effect that I want, and then the subsequent success of all the other shots inbound are all just going to fail. So all right, we've slowed down. What we're going to do here, this is likely going to fail, but that's okay. Fire 4 harpoons, sub-launched. Oh, that's so cool. I'd love to see it. Oh, that's so neat. Love it. Okay, so these will likely fail. If we do get any hits, it's going to be 1, but I suspect all these will be shot down. I just wanted to try it. What we can do is, that kilo's dead, so we don't have to worry now. We can... Oh, we'll wait. We'll see how this attack goes. Basically, Gary's going to finish off the Submarine with a swarm of 8 missiles. Oh yeah, I was talking about the fuel earlier on. So yeah, you have to be mindful of this fuel bubble because when they run out of fuel, if you put them, like if I was to take this guy and I had placed him over here and he ran out of fuel, if the Gary is like a straight line path and it goes through this guy's air defense bubble, he's not gonna care about that. He's just blindly gonna fly right through it. So if you want to put your aircraft in a holding pattern somewhere, you have to be mindful of like if they were to RTB because of fuel, what is that straight line to their base? Because if it goes through an air defense bubble, they're going to fly through it and you're likely going to lose the aircraft. So just keep that in mind. P3 is going to stay on station forever. Look at the range it has. Yeah. Alright, these missiles are getting close, I think. So 4 missiles. If we get a hit, it's probably going to be 1, but it's likely all of them will be shot down. This thing is a monster. Look at this big ship. And the cool thing about the randomness is that if one does hit, and if for instance that one missile that would get through was like the first one to get through, then the subsequent missiles that are behind it have a higher chance of getting through now because this is likely that you've damaged some air defense systems on the ship. Oh, here it goes. Ooh, 1 hit. Okay, yeah, so we got 1 hit out of that. How's it doing? Yeah, like I said, I think we need at least 2 hits to sink this guy, so this one hit was not good enough. Let's take a look where we're at with... What's the warhead size on this thing? High explosive, impact always. I was thinking using some TASMs on this dude just to try it out. I think we'll do that. I gotta wait 4 more minutes. Are we good? I think we can have the helicopter head back. It's RTB. Alright, all ready. Okay, let's try 4 TASMs. So neat. Imagine being on the coastline or being like a fisherman nearby and just seeing smoke plumes come out of the water. Missiles go rocketing away. That's so cool. My dad was on flight. He was on the earlier flights like this guy here, and he was also on... what was he on? He's on the improved LA classes, and then he was also at DSRV, which was a deep submergence rescue vehicle unit. I don't know what they use now, but they used to have the Mystic and the Avalon little mini subs that would go on the backs of some of those subs, and then you can carry them to go rescue another submarine. In fact, they were around when the Kursk went down, and they stood by ready to go, and like Putin didn't want to get help from the U.S. because he suspected the U.S. had a part in it, and they were ready to go while the sailors were still alive, and just Putin didn't want it. But it's pretty cool. That submarine, you can just drive in. It's on a truck, and you can just drive it into a C5, and they can fly it anywhere in the world. All right. Yeah, I don't know what they use now. don't think that they use those submarines still anymore. I thought I saw one in like a museum, like a picture of it online in a museum. This ship is perfectly fine. I think it's killed everything already. Oh no, it's still going. Yeah, so if we were to be tighter about our missile usage, this is just some kind of messing around. The ideal thing, the proper thing to do is to use the Gary to go ahead and fire like a full salvo of 8. Firing the band of 4 missiles from the sub, you can see while we did get a hit, it didn't sink it, and I think we got really lucky that one of those missiles hit. So we'll do salvo of 8. I think at a minimum you'd want to do 6 against Submarine. Oh, we're actually getting pretty close to this 71 nautical mile bubble, so we'll have to be careful. Just gonna fire her missiles off. So you can see with the one-armed bandit there that it's not ideal for firing a salvo. If you see this chain here, you see how they're spaced out pretty much by like a nautical mile from each other. So that allows the air defense to have a better chance because it's piecemealing one by one by one by one. Ultimately, though, enough missiles, it's just one's gonna get through and get a hit in, so you can defeat it that way. But ideally, if you had if you had it available, you'd want a ship that had a Mark 141 launcher because they could fire their harpoon loads very quickly in rapid fire, so that way the spacing is a lot tighter, and then you can hopefully defeat the enemy air defense systems just through large volume of fire all of a sudden. Okay, so I think this is good. I think we're gonna win this scenario. We can go ahead and speed her up to flank. I'm not worried about submarines detecting us, not worrying about having to hold a contact. Alright, I think these guys are going to start shooting soon. Yep, there they go. So we've already got one hit in, and it looked like... I mean, if a harpoon went straight down into this space, it's likely that this is just like an anchor equipment sort of room, so it's really just nothing vital in there. Alright. Oh man, those new countermeasure effects look really cool. Never actually seen them in real life because never fired them in training or anything. Navy ships do have this, if you look at Navy ships like on the bulkheads really closely, you'll see a lot of piping and sprinklers on the outside, and that's not for like firefighting or anything, that's just, they call it countermeasure washdown, and so you can try to rinse all the crap off the ship from the countermeasures. Ooh, that missile failed. You can see how that spacing is really affecting the missiles getting through. So we're down to the last 3. One's already spoofed, it's reacquired, thankfully. Ooh, good hit there. Hopefully we get another good hit. One got shot down, there's one more left. Ooh, okay, nice. Alright, mission accomplished. The Soviet intel gathering has been halted. However, something is odd about this exchange. Well, I think us sinking a couple of their vessels or 3 of their vessels is probably not a good thing, right? Especially if they're just gathering intel. We've kind of escalated it pretty high. All right, so we've got. Actually, let me just. There we go. Exit. There we go. Sometimes if you've got the viewing camera going for a while and then this pops up, then every time you move your mouse, it's just moving the camera in the background, and I don't like that. Yeah, so everything's undamaged, pretty good. Decisive victory. Unknown objectives, well, probably the unknown objective was to stop the trawler from getting in the zone and then defeating all the units or escaping. But yeah, that was pretty fun. This is 89 Red Horizon by Hooligan. It's called Whispers at Sea. I think the only thing that we should, if a developer wanted to improve on is, I think they are improving it, I talked to them briefly, is to get a good a normal briefing in there is pretty nice, just so it is kind of like if you don't have this briefing here, you have to go through the log, so it's kind of cumbersome, and some people don't know that you can do that. You'd have to go down to the beginning there to see this briefing just in the pop-up, and it's nice to be able to re-reference it sometimes if there's vital information in there. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And then the boats being all the same course and speed, I'm sure he's going to change that, because that's like yeah, it does happen, but it's unlikely that it happens that frequently where there's pairs of boats everywhere. Much more just fishing boats are like ants. They just go everywhere, and they are annoying. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. See you in the next one. Bye.